We're live. All right. Hi, Emma. Thank you so much for agreeing to help me with this series that I'm doing about veganism. For there's a word again, Veganuary. Have I got it yet?
Veganuary.
Veganuary. Oh, I will get it. I will get it. So yeah, I mean, tell me about your vegan journey and how you transitioned or became vegan.
So I have been vegan for I've been vegan for about 3.5 years now. I originally went plant-based because there's quite an important distinction between a plant-based diet and a vegan lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I randomly came across What the Health, Cowspiracy, and all of those kind of plant-based documentaries on Netflix, just randomly watching them one weekend. And previous to that, I'd lost the best part of 10 stone. And I was sort of thinking to myself, like, okay, well, in my head, I associate weight with health. And actually, that's not necessarily true. So you can be a healthier weight, but still be as unhealthy on the inside if you aren't doing it properly. And so I watched all of these things and thought of all of the things that I'd given up whilst losing weight and giving up smoking, and thought, well, if I'm still eating meat products 3-4 times a day and dairy every day and eggs every day, how healthy am I on the inside? So I did a trial week. So I thought, oh, well, I'll see if I can just eat a plant-based diet for a week. And I did that. I thought, well, it wasn't hard. It was fairly easy. I'm the sort of person that's quite used to reading the back of packets and ingredients lists and things like that anyway. So that's what I did. I tried it for a week and tried the different kind of alternatives and tried loads of things like lentils and beans and pulses and things that I would never ever dream of eating of before. And then it kind of clicked for me, and I was like, well, I will do this. So this was in the summertime, and I thought I'll do this until Christmas Day. Right. So I had the week testing. I had a weekend blowout, eating everything and anything I could. Fun fact: the last meat product I had was a family pack of pork pies.
Wow. Your final goodbyes, right?
Yeah. And I just changed, like, and I was carnivorous, if anything. If you had to have put me into a carnivore or vegetarian box before adopting a plant-based diet, I would have fallen into the carnivore box every time. We'd have 7 different animals at Christmas, for example, and being vegetarian never crossed my mind. Going vegan never crossed my mind. It was just watching those documentaries and learning about the health on the inside that you can't see when you look at somebody from the outside that really made me start to think. And so I'd set my goal of, okay, I'll do it until Christmas, half a year roughly. And as it started to come to Christmas, that's when I realized, I was like, okay, I'm not plant-based anymore. I am vegan, because I don't want to eat animals. Like, I've had a fantastic couple of months trying all sorts of new foods, vegetables I'd never dream of eating, vegetables I'd never even heard of. And I was like, I don't see the need to kill an animal when I'm perfectly happy eating how I am eating. And so I had that awkward conversation with my parents about Christmas Day, and I said to my mum, I don't want to eat those things. Like, I don't want them on my plate. Like, they'll have them, but I don't feel okay with it anymore. And that's when the emotional vegan lifestyle happened for me. And that's when I started, like, I've already used kind of cruelty-free brands and never would be able to afford real leather or fur or things like that anyway. But that's when the change, and I was like, right, I'm not going to be, I'm plant-based only. I went, I'm vegan, I'm going to advocate for animal rights, and I'm going to do the best that I can and make sure my products are vegan and cruelty free. And the other kind of eco things like using less plastic, making sure you buy recyclable things, shopping local, and all those kinds of options as well. And yeah, I never looked back. And this year, you know, like my family are massive meat eaters and dairy eaters. Like at Christmas, 20 different types of cheese and things like that. And this year, my parents have agreed that I'm going to cook Christmas dinner.
Wow.
So I've been doing some practice runs recently, which has been nice to try all the wonderful new options in the supermarkets at the moment. Mm-hmm. Just because of COVID, it's just going to be me, my mum and my dad. So yeah, we're going to have a vegan Christmas dinner with a vegan Satan Wellington roast, which I've been practicing, which has been lovely to try, and turned out surprisingly well for somebody that's not the best cook.
Fabulous. Oh, that's really good, because another question I wanted to ask you was, how have you found your peers, your friends? Like, have they been particularly supportive? Have you had a lot of backlash? Oh, it's not real, or you know, you're just being silly, that kind of thing. How has it been received, particularly by your family that you say are big meat eaters? And actually, if they're allowing you to cook a vegan Christmas dinner, I'm assuming that they are, you know, very supportive of you.
Yeah. So just maybe like insert a trigger warning here. My mother was diagnosed with breast cancer during the first lockdown, and so I like, when I could go home and see them, I just kind of went through and started ripping out all of the dairy from the house. So you're not having this anymore. If you've had breast cancer and you consume dairy every day, as a cisgendered woman, you are like 3 times as likely, fact check that, for something like 60, you know, I think you're 67%. If you've had breast cancer and consume a portion of dairy a day, you're 67% more likely to have the cancer come back, because of the high levels of estrogen in your body and things like that. And because dairy is a growth hormone, it's designed to grow a little baby cow into this huge, massive cow. Yeah. So if you're, you know, if you're looking at particularly kind of weight loss, drinking something that is designed to grow your body is not the thing that you want to be doing. And so, yeah, like, I think that kind of gave her a bit of a scare. Mm-hmm. Like, luckily they caught it really early and she's fine now. Like, she's had 1 operation, she doesn't have to have chemo or anything like that. But it's that kind of like, oh crap moment.
Yeah, it's like your realization moment, isn't it? That something has to be different and something's got to change. And actually, I had not so much with food, because as I've explained before during this series, that we generally eat a massively varied diet. I don't tend to have that much dairy just because I don't really like it. I mean, a smidge, if that, in my coffee. And we eat like lots of pulses. There's lots of pulses in our meals. Being South American and my husband Portuguese, we kind of fuse both of those meals, but we still eat meat. But it was that moment where I just felt constantly drained, like just constantly drained. I know I have 3 children, so it's not it's not kind of unheard of to be tired, especially as they all running in different directions and we're doing different things. And it just got to the point where I was like, no, there's got to be a better way. And I've slowly introduced more, more non-meat meals within the home, just to kind of test what the kids are like, because obviously that's my main concern, is that they're eating. But also I'm very conscious now, or a lot more conscious about why I'm eating something and what are the nutritional benefits. So yeah, and the more I read and the more I find out, and the more it's just like, you know, oh my god. And you do get that something's got to change moment. So I'm glad I'm glad she's all right and better, and that she's now thinking about her diet in that way. In terms, so you do a lot of exercise, and in terms of your strength and your stamina and things like that, do you find that having a plant-based diet has made any difference with that compared to before?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. One of the biggest changes of a plant-based diet is it's not only how it affects your performance and your stamina when you're training, but it's how quickly you recover as well, and how much better quality of sleep you get. All of those vital things that your body needs to heal and keep going and exceed your goals, whatever it might be. So when I'm so used to kind of doing 12 hours of exercise a week, that when I say that to people in the office who in normal times would have, you know, bring in a McDonald's breakfast, sit 9 till 6 every day, go and get Pret or something like that for lunch as a healthy option, even though like a sandwich is 700 calories or something ridiculous like that, and then they'd have Deliveroo in the evening, maybe have like a game of football at the weekend or something, they're gobsmacked at how much exercise they do. And they're like, oh, how do you have the energy to do it? And I think I'm so used to it now. Like I probably get kind of 6 or 7 hours sleep a night. Sometimes at the weekend I'll sleep for 14 hours when my body is really telling me that I need to rest, and then I'll have rest days. But generally I can kind of train 2-3 hours a day if need be. And then if I'm not sleeping right because of other worries or anything like that, then I can feel it, then I can notice it. And if I'm eating, it's like, that's the main difference between a plant-based diet and so like a whole foods plant-based diet that you use for your health, is very different from all of the vegan things that you see on the shelf. So a whole food plant-based diet is what I'd say I eat 80% of the time. And then I have the kind of vegan things, so like vegan burgers, vegan bacon, vegan cheese. Like it's important to remember that just because something's got a vegan label on it doesn't mean it's healthy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it hasn't got a dead chicken in, but that fake chicken is still a processed food. And we shouldn't be having vegan pizza, vegan sausages, vegan chocolate, vegan sweets, whatever it might be, every single day.
Yeah.
The same way as if it was not vegan. So that's the important thing. I can tell, like if I've had 4 days of being bad and having vegan Papa John's or whatever, then I can tell the difference as quickly as in the kind of space of a week. And then I'll have 4 days of being really on it, and I'll have some chia seeds to kind of at least feel like I'm cleaning out my system a bit, drinking loads of water, and then that's the difference. And then I can start recovering better and performing better. So even just that distinction between kind of vegan junk food and a whole food plant-based diet is so noticeable. And the whole time I've been not eating animal products, once I was given a dairy pizza and didn't realize, and kind of got halfway through it and was like, oh no, this cheese is like worryingly good. This can't be vegan cheese. And I was so ill. This was in Manchester when I had Mactober, which is a 3-day aerial event.
Oh yeah.
Where you do pole, silks, hoop, choreography, trapeze, like all of these high intensity upside down things for 3 days straight, and you need a lot of strength and stamina to do that, and not an upset stomach. Like I think I did not had dairy for like a year and a half or so, and I was so ill, and I was never lactose intolerant before. And so that just kind of made me realize, like, how quickly your body can adapt and change to things, and how unhealthy something like dairy can make you feel. And even fizzy drinks for me now, I rarely have fizzy drinks, and when I do, I feel ill for the rest of the day. And sometimes I'm still stupid and do that because I really fancy that Dr. Pepper or whatever it might be. But yeah, I mean, it's bizarre to be so kind of in tune with your body and be in tune with your eating, that you can dial things up and down and know how your body's going to react.
Wow.
But it also means that you can kind of counteract that very quickly.
Yeah, no, that's really good to be in tune. And I said this before we started recording, that your skin looks great and you look fantastic. So it's obviously really agreeing with you, and it's not, you know, made it any more complicated. It's just being a bit more conscious about what you're doing and your lifestyle and what you're eating. And do you find that you and plenty of water?
Plenty of water.
I am the worst for water, and I'm forever telling people, drink water, drink water, drink water, and I have to set a timer on my phone to remind me to drink water, because otherwise I just wouldn't. I mean, if I wasn't feeding the kids, I probably wouldn't feed myself either, you know. It's like crazy running through life. Do you find that you need to supplement with vitamins and things like that to maintain your health and your energy levels, or do you feel that based on just your plant-based diet you're able to maintain it?
So there is one thing that you can't get from kind of eating lentils and pulses and things like that, and that is vitamin B12. So you can take a supplement in the terms of like a pill form, or you can it's in kind of fortified oat milk and things like that, and on nutritional yeast, which, if you're thinking of adopting a plant-based diet or a vegan, or eating more vegan food, nutritional yeast is, I don't know how, it's just the best. Like, I chuck it on everything. It's kind of, yeah, and that's massively fortified with vitamin B12. So I'm not worried about that. Like, I'm covered in that. But I chuck it on risottos, pastas, chuck it in salads, like, but chuck it on roasties. It's really, really versatile, and you can do a lot with it, and it's packed full of really, really good things, and like really low in calories as well. So that's one thing. Occasionally, if I'm having a really bad period, I will take a vegan iron tablet, but that's maybe 3 times a year.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I don't take any kind of other multivitamins. Like, occasionally I'll take, the only things I really take regularly, or not even regularly, like, I'll occasionally take ibuprofen or paracetamol for a headache. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And I mean, vitamin B12 is found in kind of like dirt and microbes that gets on to animal products and gets eaten by animals. So that's why it's missing from a plant-based diet. But with industrial farming and how kind of cleansed meat is, a lot of meat eaters take it as a supplement as well, because it's not in the food chain in that way.
Yeah, and it's really important, B12. I only learnt this recently, actually, B12 and the impacts it has on, is it the brain? Yeah. It's definitely a subject that I need to read up more about, because it was only just recently that I realised how important B12 was. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. When I watched kind of What the Health and all of those documentaries, and the Game Changers is a new one, it switched me from thinking about food as kind of emotional and comfort and restrictive or treating yourself, and it completely took that away and made me see food as fuel. And it was like, if I want my body to be able to do X, Y, and Z, I need to put the right things in it, same as a car.
Yeah.
And that was the kind of aha moment for me. And like, even when I lost weight, I still had awful eating habits in terms of like eating disorder things. So I would binge and purge, even though I was a healthy weight. I'd eat really, really well throughout the week and then go berserk at the weekend and make myself sick. So I still didn't have a healthy relationship with food. And it was kind of that almost like an addiction in the sense of it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
And just by going plant-based, I just completely viewed food and exercise and my body in a completely different way. And it was just eye-opening for me. And I've not exhibited like any of my, like the things that I would do with my eating disorder since I've been plant-based. And that's kind of the biggest thing for me. And I know that I eat well 80% of the time. So at the weekend I can have a pizza or whatever, and I'm not gonna go berserk and have 10 pizzas and then 10 packets of crisps and loads of chocolate and ice cream and anything like that. I can just, if I fancy an ice cream on a Wednesday night, I have some ice cream on a Wednesday night, because I know that everything else, what I'm doing for my body, is the right thing to do for it.
Fabulous. That's really amazing. And always, you know, I always appreciate being able to come to people like you that know and ask questions and just kind of feel my way around it without the pressure, you know, because I find that sometimes you get that pressure of you're terrible, you have to do it. And for me, I think it would definitely be a gradual process, just because I'm not just considering myself, I'm considering my family. And you know, that is just what it is. Do you find that vegan products are more expensive? And you said you've been vegan for about 3 years, right? So from 3 years ago to now, what's your shopping experience like when you're shopping for plant-based diet?
I mean, if you stick to kind of a whole foods plant-based diet, it's really cheap. It's vegetables, it's pastas, it's beans, it's legumes, it's pulses. Like, those aren't expensive things. Mm-hmm. If you're buying fake sausages, fake bacon, fake pizza, that's where the expense comes in. And that's the kind of association with it, is because if you see, you know, a vegan burger in London will cost you 15 quid. And that's ridiculous for what is essentially made up of vegetables and herbs and oats and stuff, whatever. But no, I think it's an odd one. Like, meat, for years in British history, meat was always associated with wealth. When you think of Henry VIII having like his banquet and loads of game and things like that, and poor people would eat a more plant-based diet because they couldn't afford meat. And that's where our kind of British tradition of a Sunday roast comes in. So you have, like, chicken was really expensive, you have it once a week. The rest of the week you have mainly a plant-based diet, or like tripe and things like that. Yeah, just thank God we don't do anymore. So I find it does, I think veganism has been, as many things in the world has been very kind of taken over by or has kind of been colonized by white people, and has had this aesthetic associated to it as this expensive kind of upper class thing. And it's not that at all. Like, if you have all the fake meats and fake cheeses, then yeah, it is really expensive. Especially cheese, because a lot of the cheese is made from nuts, and nuts are quite a fairly expensive product. But no, I mean, I would say I spend less on food than I used to, and I eat more. And I eat such more of a variety as well now, as too. Like, before, I would just kind of have chicken stir fries and things like that. But meat should be a lot more expensive than it is anyway, because of the kind of government subsidies and the industrialization of it to make it cheaper, and like growing chickens faster as fast as possible. Like, meat is an expensive product, but it should be even more expensive in theory. And I think everyone could make everyone, in terms of people kind of in Europe and in America, whatever, in like Western places, could make the choices to do meat, whether it's kind of meat-free Mondays, and just like you need to get something, you need to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I completely appreciate that the whole world isn't going to be able to go vegan overnight, and there are some like indigenous communities, like if you're an Inuit, you can't grow bananas. And if you fly bananas in, you've got the ecological impact of that. And I think bananas are probably like $20 each or something ridiculous like that. Wow. Like they're not, it's not accessible for everyone. But there's no excuse for people in the West. And it's, you know, an Inuit ice fishing, or somebody who lives on a Southeast Asian like fishing village, fishing isn't okay. It's not great because it is still killing an animal, but it's not doing the damage that industrial fishing is doing for people in the West to have fish fingers, for example. And I think you do get the shouty vegans, you do get the ones that stand in town centres with footage of slaughterhouses and things like that. And I personally, like I have a marketing communications background, and if I want to change the behaviour of an audience, I don't tell them they're doing a bad job. I don't berate them for doing bad things like eating animals. And if you like, I think what the health documentaries like that did for me was highlight the benefits of the plant-based diet, rather than shoving the animal rights message down my throat. And that's, everyone has different journeys, and some people, like I went overnight, I know that's a really rare thing. And so just encouraging changes that can become long-term changes is absolutely fantastic. And you know, even if you mess up, it's not the end of the world.
Actually you're the second person to say that to me. Because you just don't want to get it wrong, and you don't, you know, I don't want to do anything you know, that isn't correct. I guess just one last question I wanted to ask you was in terms of eating a plant-based diet, do you feel like it's had some kind of impact on your mental health in a positive way, or not? I mean, I'm not sure. What's your take on that? Because for me, I'm looking into health benefits and what I eat for health benefits, in particular for energy boosting, but also I've got that fog, you know, that fog. I'm not depressed or anything like that, but there's just a fog going on, and I was hoping that maybe by eradicating some things from my diet or implementing more of something in my diet, it would just help for that clarity of mind. I haven't felt like this in a long time, and this year in particular, because we've had so much time to think, and because we've had so much time to ponder and eat lots of bad stuff and lots of it, you know. That's where I'm kind of at. How about you? What do you think?
So there is strong scientific links between junk food, processed food, high sugary foods, and depression, and that is a big thing. Like, it's really, like, we're taught as children, eat your vegetables, drink loads of water, do all these good things, and it's not just for physical health, it's like to have happy, healthy children. And when we grow up, we kind of lose that, and we look for alternatives like medication. And you have the whole Hippocrates as let food be thy medicine, and that is such a big thing. Like, adjusting your diet can have a massive impact on your mental health. And even as I was saying, when I eat vegan junk food in comparison to a plant, like whole foods, plant-based stuff, I feel more run down, I feel less motivated, because you're like, if you put crap into your body, you feel crap. And you get to the point where you are so used to it, because you've been eating that stuff for years and years and years, that you don't notice the difference. But if I've had, you know, 2 weeks of eating basically all whole foods plant-based because of whatever reason, and then I go and have a kind of binge at the weekend, on Monday I'm like, oh, Like I feel heavier, my head feels heavier, I'm not motivated, I'm just like dying for some water, and it makes an absolutely massive difference. And the links between mental health and diet are so strong, and I think everyone is very quick to jump to the medicine option and don't want to take, like, we know that exercise releases endorphins and things like that, and they make you feel much better. And so I think it's really important, especially this year, to look at what you're putting into your body and comparing it to how you feel. And I think as well, like embarking on something like including more plant-based foods in your life, like it's fun. Like I know that sounds really geeky, but it is fun. Like it's exciting to try new recipes, to try new foods. And yeah, some are terrible. I personally can't stand jackfruit, even though that's a very popular vegan alternative. But there are loads of other things that you can try. I made like tofu fish with nori seaweed paper. I made banana blossom fish. Never heard of that before in my life. Didn't know what it looked like. I pulled it out of the tin and it looked like some sort of alien. But yeah, learning things like that is really fun. I think that's a really great way as well to get children and family involved. Like you're experimenting and you're learning new things and you're involving your children at the same time. And if they understand, well, you need to eat this to grow big and strong, or you need to eat this because it helps your brain function better. You know, the things that we're told as a kid, like it's not true, but like, eating carrots helps you see in the dark, but actual true ones. And so I think that's probably, yeah, that's probably the best way. And it absolutely affects mental health. People report being less people that suffer from like really strong clinical depression and have to have medication have reported like feeling better, reducing their medication and things like that, as well as the physical health benefits.
Fab. And you said that you saw already in just 1 week when you trialed it out how much better you felt. So imagine the 31 days in January. You know, if nothing else, it would be good to detox from all the stuff that you've had over Christmas. You know, but this year's a little bit different because we won't be partying and like office parties and things like that where you overindulge in everything. But already I've got like the kids going, are you gonna make sure you buy this, and are you gonna, so it looks like I'm gonna be, you know, making everyone's version of mashed potato because they all have different versions and stuff. And so it would be good as a cleanse and a body detox if nothing else. And if only after a week you saw how great the benefits were, I'm sure after a month we'll be able to see. I'm excited because I've got lots of recipes to try out, you know, and I've got lots of new information and stuff. So yeah, thank you so much for educating me. I really appreciate it. It was lovely seeing you.
No worries. Yeah, I mean, Veganuary is the perfect opportunity. Like so many people start New Year's resolutions and do dry January and whatever. Let's not do dry January this year. But yeah, it's the perfect opportunity, and that gives you, I think, the scientific thing is that you do something for 6 weeks and that becomes a habit, and that's when you can really kind of see a difference. And if you measure yourself physically, like not literally with your weight or like a tape measure, but if you kind of measure yourself how you feel, like your tiredness and your mental health on like a scale of 1 to 10 maybe or something at the beginning, and see how that goes throughout the month. And do you feel better? Do you have more energy? How are the kids feeling? I think that, yeah, I think Veganuary is the perfect place to start.
Fabulous. I look forward to it, and I will definitely be reporting back on my successes and possibly failures of such, but mostly successes. I'm taking this on in a positive mind frame. So I'm excited. Thank you so much, Emma, for joining me. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you soon.
No worries.